Okay, we've got another brew with Beau. I'm out in the median strip near work. This is where I came in on the commute when I walked. I've got a whole bunch of really great questions. You guys are kicking butt out there in blog world. Chris Ord asks, how did you feel adventuring through crowded, activity-dense, intensely altered landscapes? Well, that's the point of me being right here now too, because very rarely would you sit out on a median strip. I don't think there's been a human spend more than maybe a frequent transient time getting across the road ever on this little patch of grass. There's probably never been anyone ever spent real time here, at least not since it's been altered. And so maybe there's some really interesting things to think about yourself and the world by doing this. And so that's why I did it. I walked to work during peak hour, during cars, on a road that I knew apparently pretty well. G'day, bud. Brett asks, what looked useful on the side of the road but you refused to touch it? Found a really nice jacket, had lots of good colours on it, it was nice and thick, and it was approaching nightfall, and it had spew all over it, so I just left it there in a pile. But I did debate it. I stood there for at least a minute thinking, do I risk the night in a spewy jacket? I did not. James McGregor, what's the funniest thing you observed between work and home? Well, I found a couple of iPhones, and then I found an iPad, very similar to this, and Siri was on, and Siri had been run over, and Siri was pissed. Siri, I found you on the side of a highway and you'd been run over and you wouldn't shut up, but I saved you, and my brother-in-law made 500 bucks out of the iPad online. Here's a ripper from Harry Whitehead. When you drive home, has it changed your perception of your drive compared to before you walked? Bloody oath, Harry, that's a really good question. And that's one of the reasons for me doing it as well, was to reinvent my commute, which you do 2 to 4 to 10 hours a week. So if I can layer that with some complexity and some small narratives of weird pockets of info and story as I go, then it doesn't make my commute a waste of time. Benny Campbell, known as Colin, I think, would you rather fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses? I think I'd go the small horses. The sheer novelty of being attacked by 100 small horses. I'm going to move on. Justin O'Connor, what's the most adventurous thing about this adventure? It was kind of an anti-adventure. It's walking, the most basic human thing. So can I make it adventure? And how I did that is by stripping it back and by basically just leaving with shirt on my back, pants and a big hat. So it became adventurous because I had to source my own water and food, find shelter, make shelter, pick things up, leave things, all that sort of stuff. So I layered it with decision making that is in part of adventure. Another one of you, Jody asks, did people do that? And oddly enough, no, I was left alone. People would just think you're some bum walking along the road, and for 100 Ks, for 30 hours, I was completely left alone. Kelly Dunstan, she asks, what's the most unexpected thing to happen on your journey? I was way off the road, but I'm clearly something to look at on a stretch of highway. There's not usually humans on it. So here I am, this guy in a hat, right, walking along the road. God, there's a dude for you. That's a bad drawing. So here's your big stretch of road, and here's the little dude with his big hat walking along. And as I'm walking along, cars will tend to slow just to have a look at me. You know, is this dude all right? Is he a nut? Is he injured? Does he need help? So there might be some nice things in there, but they all put their brake lights on, and then you get this section of road, of highway, that's got 10 kilometres either side of it of nothing happening, and they're pulse braking, and you can see it. You see this little bubble of traffic around you. So it's kind of like being God on a highway for a while. That was pretty fascinating to watch, actually. Hey, if I didn't answer your question, I'll get to it in the blog world and it'll be posted tomorrow. So good on you, team.